I think most of you guys know me, but for those who don't, my name's Ari Trieger, and I work in the pre-sales departments for Provision ISR. And I'm thrilled to announce the launch of our new firmware update for Provision ISR's VMS. We've got a longish session today, around 55 to an hour. So I would like to get straight into it. Make yourself comfortable, and yeah, let's begin. So guys, I want to obviously start with feature number one. It's actually not a feature, but it's an interface improvement. So over time, we've collected a lot of feedback from you regarding the interface and how to improve it. And we're proud to present an overall interface facelift. Let's take a closer look at some of these GUI improvements. So beginning with our home screen, in the previous version 2.1.3, users had to scroll horizontally through modules by clicking on the arrow. Now, with version 2.1.4, the new interface clearly separates, first of all, operational and configuration sections. And scrolling down reveals the operation application section, which includes modules for daily activities like live view, playback, analytics search, and the configuration management section contains modules for literally configuring the VMS, which includes device management, alarm center, and user account setups. So this organized interface simplifies the workflow, making it easier than ever to manage the VMS. Next feature is the alarm linkage interface, which also sees great improvement. So previously in 2.1.3, menus were displayed horizontally across the screen. The areas were chosen individually on the left-hand side of the screen, and the alarm type was a drop-down menu. Now in version 2.1.4, the menus are displayed intuitively on the right-hand side. The alarm types are clearly displayed vertically, and after selecting your alarm type, it will display all areas clearly in the center of the page, and we can filter by area by using the drop-down area filter. So there are more advances that I'll show you in the upcoming video, but let's just move on for now. Similar to the new alarm linkage, the interface, similar to the alarm linkage interface, the group management has also been redesigned with a horizontal menu that are also clearly displayed. And onto the local interface, we've redesigned the menu layout from a horizontal to a vertical display. Plus, similar applications are now combined, so reducing the number of windows in menus, which enhances the user convenience and obviously improves efficiencies. And the final example I'd like to highlight in the redesign of the module is the redesign of the module selection tool. So previously in 2.1.3, the selector was displayed as a module on the home screen, so it was an actual module. Now with 2.1.4, it's conveniently placed at the top right of the interface as a drop-down menu, which is accessible at all times, no matter which module you are using. I'd like to move on to a video showcasing some of these features and how they've optimized how the optimized user interface improves efficiency and overall productivity. So starting with the improved home screen. So remember when I mentioned that in version 2.1.4, the configuration and application modules are clearly separated. In version 2.1.3, these modules were mixed together, and to view other modules that weren't displayed on the screen, you'd need to click on the mouse, okay, to scroll left and right. Now in version 2.1.4, the application or the daily activity modules are separated from the configuration modules. And to view additional modules that are not displayed, simply scroll with your mouse. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys the improved alarm configuration. So let's just look back at 2.1.3. So in 2.1.3, you had your areas on the left-hand side, which you could only select one at a time. And the alarm type was displayed as a drop-down and wasn't clearly, you couldn't see it clearly. Another thing with 2 and 3 is that when you bind a device to a action, if you didn't select on as well, the action would not take effect, okay, which I know was a bit annoying for a lot of us. Now in 2 and 4, first of all, the configuration management holds the alarm center, and to access the alarm linkage, we go to alarm settings. Now the menus are clearly defined on the left-hand side of the page. And we can minimize that to even make the page even bigger. And the alarm type is now displayed vertically across and also, so you can clearly see exactly all different alarm types. And what's nice is that you can also filter. So if you know what you're looking for, you can just type in the alarm type there, and you can easily get to the alarm type you want to action. Once you've selected an alarm type, it brings up all devices on the VMS. Okay, so you can do mass programming of all devices. Alternatively, if you want to do a specific device, you can filter by the device name. Or if you want to just work on an area, a specific area, you can filter by area as well. Another big change is that when you bind a device to an action, it automatically enables the action instead of having to manually intervene. So let's just look at that again. So when we push the device across, basically to bind it, it automatically enables. You'll also see that it does the same when you do a mass link to self across all devices on the menu. It automatically enables them. You still will need to push apply. Now, let's say you want to disable. You simply disable, and you can see that now you see there's a tick box. It's either highlighted green or it's in gray. If it's grayed out, it means the function has been disabled. But what's nice about this is that it still shows you what device was previously enabled. And then just to navigate through your alarm linkage is a lot faster, as you can just select your alarm type on the left-hand side, and it will quickly bring up all devices and their configurations on the center of the page. Cool. I hope that made sense. Let's move on to feature number 2, which is management mode. Okay, so this is a brand new feature. It's quite a unique feature. And let's just look at who is it for, who's management mode for. So let's say you have multiple locations and different devices. However, you don't need to monitor them, but you would like to manage them from one central location, your VMS. So I like you to imagine that you're a security manager overseeing multiple sites across various locations. Your focus isn't on monitoring events or live feeds, but purely on centralized device and database management without the complexity of a control room or transfer service to handle feeds from hundreds or thousands of devices. This is where our new feature comes in, management mode. With management mode, you can effortlessly centralize and manage hundreds or thousands of devices and databases, ensuring smooth and efficient security operations across all sites without the need of excessive hardware, and you're not confined to bandwidth limitations either. Okay? So when management mode is enabled, well, let's first of all look at what happens when management mode is enabled. So it reduces the communication load on the VMS server, and it saves on the transfer server hardware. Also in management mode, the VMS server can connect up to 10,000 devices, but can only view a total of 16 live channels, whether via a single client or multiple clients. All clients connected to the server in this mode are subject to this limitation. Management mode also enables the VMS to manage and sync face and license plate databases with connected LPR cameras, NVRs, and access control devices, such as intercoms. You can also manage device settings such as OSDs, image, audio, and even set up analytic rules still within management mode. While the VMS users might see a large list of connected devices, most of them will appear offline and will only switch online during live view or one-way synchronization of faces and licenses. Let's go see how it actually works on the VMS. Just want to pause the chat quickly. So with the addition of management mode, we've provided you with a different way to operate your VMS. This means that you have an option to enable management mode, or if your needs are still to monitor devices, we now define this as monitor mode. So currently we are in monitor mode where all the devices remain online and the VMS operates as a monitoring tool. Let's go and change to management mode and see how it affects the VMS. So in order to do this, we're going to go back to home and we're going to go to our configuration settings and we're going to go to system configuration. Now you'll see there are a new mode option menu for you where you can select either monitor mode or management mode. Let's go and select management mode. And when you apply, the server will switch to the selected management mode and the client will restart. When it restarts, it obviously restarts in management mode. Now let's go have a look at our device list, and you can see majority or all of them are offline. And the devices will come online when the VMS needs to communicate with them, such as live viewing, playback analytics, or search or databases. So let's go and see what happens if we make a change to a database. Let's go see what happens with the device when we make this change. So we're just going to go to a people management group, just going to make a small modification, which will enable, or which will ask the VMS to sync to the NVR. So once we've done that, let's go back to the resource management, and you'll see the NVR or device comes online because the VMS has initiated the synchronization of the change we've just made. And once the synchronization is complete, the device goes offline. Okay, so I hope that's clear. If you want to learn more about that, we can talk about it after the session. Also, guys, please, if you've got any questions in that, please feel free to write them in the comment box or open up your mic at the end of the session. Okay, on to feature number 3, which is search by metadata. Just to remind you all, our AI cannot only identify objects such as humans and 4- or 2-wheel vehicles, but it can also capture the attributes of these objects and store this information as metadata. And then during post-event, you can search for specific attributes of these objects, enabling a more refined and powerful search. So last year, we launched metadata on our RPCs or RP cameras and NVRs. Now with the VMS version 2.1.4, we've added support for search by metadata. Just like our NVRs, you can now easily search for attributes of objects. And again, these objects are humans, both 4- and 2-wheel vehicles, directly from the VMS. Additionally, our smart snapshot views display attributes information on the live screen as well. So let's go see it in action. So to begin, we search by object. And now you'll see there's a whole new interface with the metadata. Let's go and search for a human to begin with. So you select your object type, which will be human. You'll go select your camera or cameras. And then I just want to show you, you can either search via an analytics server or the NVR. So we provide you with 2 methods for searching for metadata, and it all depends on how you've connected the device to the VMS. So firstly, retrieving metadata from the NVR. The NVR consolidates metadata from the supported cameras, and the VMS retrieves and displays this information during a metadata search. Alternatively, if you've if you have an IP camera with metadata analytics connected directly to the VMS, during the metadata search, you will need to select the analytics server to retrieve the metadata results. So we're going to search for a human, for a human on back DDA camera via the analytics server, which means the camera's been connected directly to the VMS. And you'll see we have all the common and normal attributes that you can select as you would on the Cam2 application or our NVR. So we're going to go just do a random search for a male wearing black lower clothing and a cyan upper clothing color, and we can get our results pretty quickly. And then with regards to snap details, you can obviously bring up all the attributes that were detected by the objects. And we can also go to playback if you need to as well. Okay, so now let's go search for a vehicle. This time we're going to search for a vehicle under the NVR. So you'll see immediately when you switch to vehicle, the attributes change to the vehicle attributes. And we're going to search for, like I said, under the NVR. I want you to watch what happens to our video point. So as soon as we select NVR, it only brings up the NVR devices. It doesn't give you the option to select a device connected directly to the VMS, which makes logical sense. So once again, you've got the usual attributes that you could search for in the vehicle. You've got your colors, you've got your vehicle type, you've got your vehicle brands, and obviously you've got your date range as well. So we're just going to search for we're going to do a basic search and search for a yellow vehicle, and we'll see how quickly the results appear. Okay, now remember I told you that we can display metadata on live snapshots. So I don't know if you guys recall, but you're able to bring up live snapshots of all analytic events on the live screen on the right-hand side. Now we've got the added feature of displaying the attributes of the object if the event is a metadata event. So you can see that the attribute is either highlighted in red or in gray. If it's highlighted in red, it means that's the attribute. If it's highlighted in gray, it means either the object doesn't have that attribute or the analytic didn't pick up that attribute. Also from the live snapshot, we can go and see snap details and also go straight to playback as well from the live view on the smart snapshot. All right, cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're making very good progress, and I hope you're still with me. I've still got a bit to go, but we're making good progress. So I want to ask you, are you tired of the same old boring video wall layout? We are. So that's why we've created the new TV wall canvas feature. So think of it like a blank canvas for your security needs. With the new canvas feature, we can create a totally custom video wall that works for you. You want a giant close-up of a main entrance or a mix of live feeds and playback, no problem. Plus, you can stretch the canvas across multiple screens or keep it on one. It's all up to you. So let me show you how it looks. So I just want to just remind you guys, previously in 2.1.3, we were confined to videos via HDMI monitors, and it was very rigid. You could only select specific HDMI outputs or monitors or screens, and then from there you could define the layout. The only thing we could do is merge a few screens together, but other than that, this is what we got. Now in 2.1.4, we bring you the canvas, and we've got a new Create Canvas button. Once you select it, you can drag your mouse over the video wall, and you can define the size of your canvas. Once you've defined the size of the canvas, you can select the layout options. You can readjust it. You can snap it to the window. You could pull a canvas over multiple monitors or multiple screens. You can also define the layout within that as well. You can be very creative when it comes to setting up your video wall now. So even if you create a 16-view window, you can drag it across multiple windows, and it will just display seamlessly on your video wall. And also, you have the ability to show and hide canvas numbers, so you are aware of your layouts. Cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this new feature. We certainly have enjoyed playing with it. All right. Feature number 5, which is the license plate group management. So we have new license plate group management, but to understand this new feature, I'd like to just quickly take a look at version 2.1.3. So in 2.1.3, we had allowed lists and block lists on the VMS that only worked within the VMS parking lot module. There was no option to sync with LPR compatible devices, meaning LPR access control management was confined within the VMS. Let's have a look at how it actually functions. So you had your LPR camera, which was connected to your VMS management server, either via LAN or via internet. When a license plate was detected, the camera sent the plate information to the VMS, and then the VMS compared this information against known databases. Based on the rules set up within your parking lot management module, if the vehicle was on the block list, it would deny entry, and conversely, if the vehicle was on the allow list, it would grant entry. So the system obviously worked well. So what's the new feature? So version 2.1.4 introduces the capability to create license plate database groups that sync effortlessly to your devices. Whether it's an LPR camera or an NVR, this new feature provides you with a centralized point for managing license plate databases from the VMS directly to your devices. You might be thinking, okay, great, this is a great feature, but why add it? So let me just revert quickly back to 2.1.3. When a license plate is captured by the camera and sent to the management server for comparison, everything works smoothly. However, what if there's a network loss or a breaking connection between the LPR camera and the server? In such cases, the LPR can't send the license plate to the VMS for comparison, which obviously causes the access control to fail. Alternatively, you might prefer the LPR to handle recognition directly, which will reduce latency and simplify your processes, yet still requiring a centralized database that can sync across multiple sites. So by syncing the LPR camera, by syncing with the LPR camera, should I say, it takes over the recognition duties, and based on the permissions that you've set up on the device itself, once you've pushed the databases to the device, obviously the vehicles will either grant access or deny access. Okay, so let's go have a look and see how it actually works on the VMS. So first of all, this feature does not come enabled as by default. You need to go and enable this synchronization to device feature, and you can locate it in the system configuration settings. So right by our mode options, you'll see there's enable license plate synchronization. And it says that when disabled, the system will not support the function of license plate synchronization. So let's go and enable it. And it'll give you all the support functions that, when enabled, what will happen. So once you've confirmed it, the VMS will reboot and start up again. So now let's go directly to our group management and go to vehicle registration. So just like people groups, you can now manage vehicle databases. So now you can create different types of groups under allow lists, and obviously you can add plates. So first of all, we can create different groups, like I mentioned, and you can add your plate records. Now we've got a new function which will bind this group to a LPR device or NVR. So this is similar to the face, pushing faces to the devices from the VMS in 2.1.3. It's just now got the function, like I said, for license plates as well. Also, you can query what groups have been sent to which devices by going to our logs, and we can see exactly which license plates have gone to which device, in what group they belong to, and the actual delivery status, if it was success, invalid, error, etc. Cool. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new model, and I need your attention here because it's quite vast and deep. So I need you to stretch yourselves, get comfortable, and pay attention. Let's take a look at some of the key features available in our new access control module. So our new access control module is designed to work exclusively with our new intercoms, our doorbells, and face recognition NVRs, making it the ultimate tool for live monitoring and managing your access control. With smart visual graphics, you can easily check the status of your doors at a quick glance. If you need to control access in and out, there's no problem. The access control module gives you full control over your doors, all your doors on your VMS system. Do you want to see who's accessing your doors in real time? With our real-time monitoring live feeds from, our real-time monitoring provides live feeds from access control devices with smart pass records displayed conveniently on the right-hand side of the screen. With a few clicks, you can retrieve call and access logs from your device, from your access control devices, and export them for further review, ensuring you have complete oversight of your access control activities. And lastly, we give you the access control e-mapping. So you could utilize Google Maps or an image to create a detailed map, placing your access control devices in their physical locations. This allows for live monitoring of access devices, enabling you to initiate and receive calls, operate door triggers, and view alarm information of each access point in real time. When it comes to working with the access control module and our intercom, you can now control the following aspects of the intercom. You can create database groups and users to directly sync from the VMS to your intercom. When you create a new user, you can actually set the authentication methods. So in other words, you can choose how you want the user to authenticate themselves on the intercom, either via face recognition, RFID with a tag, PIN code, or you can even set up dual authentication. All this can be configured directly from the VMS. And obviously, you can receive calls from the intercom. And once you've answered, you can engage in a two-way communication, and you can obviously remotely trigger doors. When it comes to working with our access control module and the doorbell, you can interact with the doorbell by receiving and answering calls, engaging in two-way conversations, and you have the ability to open doors as well. And obviously, you can add the doorbell as a camera and monitor the video as necessary, like any IP camera. Let's go and have a look at this module in a bit more detail. So first off, we're going to start up with real-time monitoring. So we've got, as it's a new module, I just want to point out to you where you can find it on the home page. So once you've opened up the access control module, it'll take you directly to real-time monitoring, where you've got different views. So currently we're in list view, and in list view, all our devices are displayed, and we can see the status of the door as well. You can initiate two-way conversations as well by just double-clicking on whichever device you choose. And from there, you can talk both ways and obviously trigger doors as well. Alternatively, you can also monitor access control devices, the cameras live, as well as you can view pass records, which means you can view all access control transactions as they happen via this module. Receiving calls on the VMS platform, how does it look? So let's initiate a call from an intercom and unlock the door. So we've initiated a call, this intercom pops up, and once you answer it, it'll bring up live view. From there, you can trigger your door. You can change the status of the relay, normally open, normally closed. And because the intercom has got two unlock functions, both relays will appear as well. So you can select either or, control both. What happens if you've got multiple calls coming through on the VMS platform at the same time? So what happens is when you receive your first call, you can answer like normal. If a second call comes through, it will appear as like a call waiting on the right-hand side of the page. Even if more calls start coming through, they'll start appearing on the right-hand side of the page. Once you answer a second call, it hangs up the call that you're on and pushes the queue forward, and then you can obviously repeat the process and take all calls. Okay, let's look at our EMAP. So just like our IP cameras, we now bring you EMAP specifically for access control. So you can create an EMAP as you normally would if you're using IP cameras by going to EMAP, selecting either Google Maps or uploading a map, give it a name. Once you've created it, simply drag and drop your access control devices onto the EMAP where they are exactly in their physical locations. And then from there, we can begin live monitoring. So go back to the access module and click on EMAP to go to live monitoring. And within live monitoring, like I said, we can get alarm events from our access control devices. You can initiate two-way conversations directly off the EMAP by double-clicking on the device. And once you've initiated the two-way conversation, you obviously can control the access open and close of the door. Okay, we can also manage databases. So let's start off by creating a new record or a new person. So we go to our people and vehicle management, we go to our person list, and let's just go add a person. So as you can see, this should look all familiar to those who know our VMS. This is the same information that you come to know, the basic information that you fill in, and you can upload a face and create your person record. But I want you to notice there's a new access control option, which hasn't been there before. So once you've created the basic information, you can go to the access control menu. And within this menu, you have access permissions control over your access control devices directly from the VMS, meaning you can select which permission group this user needs access to. You could select also, and by the way, sorry, for those of you who don't know what permission groups are, because that is also a new feature within our VMS. I've got a whole section dedicated to explaining permission groups coming up on the next feature. We've also got unlocking. You can also select different unlocking methods like face recognition, swiping a card, the dual authentication methods. And if you're using the RFID tags, you can fill in the serial number of the RFID tag, or you can input a password. Just like our LPR, you can go and check the status of each person by going to the permission status query, where you can view via device or people. So if you view by device, if you click on the device, it'll actually bring up all people that have been added to that device and the status, if they've been successfully added or if they're invalid, etc. Another thing that you can do with the group management is adding people to a block list. So if you've got somebody who you don't want to allow into a certain area and you want to be notified if they attempt to get there, you can add them on a block list, add them to the specific area. You can go double check to make sure that they have been added. So you can actually see Shahar has been added to the intercom from group block, and he's been successfully added. So now when Shahar comes to this intercom and tries to access it, you'll get an actual notification on the live monitoring tool indicating that he's been blocked. And then lastly, what you can do with the access control module is pull reports. So you can pull reports based on access records, meaning who's used the device as an access control tool to come in and out, no matter what authentication method you set up. And you can also pull records of intercoms. So if the call was answered, if it was a missed call, the time of the call, when it started, etc. You get the point from which device. And also pass records that actually give you what time the person accessed the device, who it was, what would they allow or block lists, and a bit more information as well. Cool, thanks guys. I hope you're still with me. On on to feature number 7, and the next few features are exciting ones. And I'm sure, as you guys are aware, recently Provision ISR started offering intercom systems with access control features. So the next 2 features are there to help you manage your access control, starting with permission groups. So what is a permission group? A permission group is a collection of users assigned to use specific access control devices, like your intercom, according to a set schedule. Okay, so to explain it a bit deeper, let me take you through a scenario that I'm sure many of you can relate to. Imagine you have a client with a large property consisting of 4 warehouses and a main gate. Each area requires access control, and in this case, you've installed the new Provision ISR intercom. In warehouse 1, you have workers classified as orange workers who require access only to their warehouse 1 and to the main gate. Similarly, in warehouse 2, you have the blue workers who need access to their warehouse and their main gate only. Sorry, I forgot to mention they also need access only on weekdays. Okay. The same applies for warehouse 3 and warehouse 4, where the pink and green workers require access to their respective warehouses and the main gate during weekdays only. Adding to the complexity, you have management who appear in red. They need full access to all areas, including the main gate, at all times. So basically all areas 24/7. Additionally, an additional layer of complexity, there's security guards who require 24/7 access to the main gate to patrol the internal and external perimeters, but must be restricted from accessing the warehouses. Okay, let me show you how we can achieve this using permission groups. So the 3 main principles of a permission group are who has access, when do they need access, or when do they get access, into which devices can they access. So you have a complex situation. Let's break it down on paper. Starting with permission group 1, labeled warehouse 1, which are the orange workers. And the orange workers require access during the week, Monday to Friday, and they need access to warehouse 1 reader as well as the main gate devices only. Next, for warehouse 2, which are the blue workers, they need to access during the week only as well, but they need access to the main gate and warehouse 2. I'm going to follow the same pattern for warehouses 3 and 4. I think you guys get the point, where each worker needs access to their specific warehouse and the main gate during the week. Okay, and now let's move to the management group. As you recall, they were in red. They require full-time access from Monday to Sunday, and they need access to all devices. And then lastly, we have the security guards permission group who need access, also 24/7 access Monday to Sunday, but only to the main gate. Hope you're with me and it's clear. Let me show you how we can do this now on the VMS. So just a reminder, the 3 principles of permission groups is who has access, when do they have access, and to what do they have access to. So as a prerequisite, the VMS requires pre-configured databases of people and access control devices, which we've already set up. Okay, I don't want to bore you and show you guys how to set that up. You guys will know how to set that up. So we've got in-group management. Now, we're looking at our person list, and we have categorized the people in a people database in a logical manner, like your blue staff, green staff, management, security guards, etc. Let's go now set up permission groups. So you'll see now there's a new section called permission groups. Let's go and add a new permission group. Let's start off with the security guards in mind and the main gate. So we're going to give it a logical name, and we're going to call it main gate. Yeah, we can specify the schedule for this permission group, and this schedule dictates the times when the users can access the devices that are going to be assigned to this group. And I just want to tell you guys a very important note here. When syncing to an NVR, please note that the schedule on the permission group has no effect, okay? You will still need to set up the database permissions on the NVR as you did previously in the facial recognition analytics. So all it's going to do is literally push the database to your NVR device, and from there, those users will appear in the NVR, and then you still got to go into the recognition analytic to set up the specific permissions. If I'm not clear, we can talk about it in a bit more detail after the seminar. Okay, so now we've created the main gate. Remember, we've got the security guards in mind. We only want to give them access to the main gate reader, so we push the main gate reader across. So now we've set up a permission group for the main gate, which we've called the main gate, which only works with the main gate device. Let's go add the users who need access to these specific permissions, which I told you are the security guards. So let's go and find the security guards group and push them across. So they've been pushed across, and now they've been saved. Conveniently, on the right-hand side of the page, you can also review which people have been assigned to each permission group. Okay, let's create additional permission groups. Remember, we've got warehouses and main gates that we need to assign workers to. So we are going to create a permission group, which we're going to call warehouse 1 plus gate, and we only want to give them access during the week. And let's go push those readers across into this permission group. Now we've set up the permission group. Let's go add warehouse 1 users or people to the permission group, which we classified as orange, as the orange people. So like I've shown you, you've been tasked to set up permission groups for blue, pink, green workers. Each group requires access exclusively to their respective warehouses and their main gate. So I'm going to do this quickly, and I'm just going to fast forward it. So you have to watch the whole process because I'm just repeating the previous steps. Okay. Now, finally, we need to grant access to the management. If you recall, management needs full-time access. So you can give the permission group a logical name like full-time access. And you can set the schedule to be full-time, and you can push all the devices across. So this means all devices will have full-time access in this permission group, and we're going to go and push the management group across to the permission group. So now all management will have these permissions we've set up. So just to recap, we have set up different permission groups, and we've assigned our blue, our pink, our green, red workers, our management, our security guards, all to these permission groups. I hope it was clear. You can also check the status of each groups, or you can check the status of people and devices. So we can go see where Celine Dion has been added. You can see she's been added to the main gate reader and the warehouse reader. She's part of the blue staff employee group, and she's been added successfully. Alternatively, we can view the entire group as well. So we can see where everyone in the group has been added to, or we can go to a device and see, okay, we've got a main gate reader. Who's actually got access to the main gate reader? And we can actually pull and see who these people are. Okay. You guys with me? Roy? Cool. Another feature that is designed for the use of the intercom is the visitor management module. So with our visitor management system, you can provide access for visitors at controlled entry points by setting up visitor-specific permission groups. So remember, I just showed you permission groups. We can do visitor-specific permission groups and assigning intercom access control devices to these groups. When the visitor arrives, you can start the registration process by capturing their photo, assigning an invitee who requested the invite or the person to come, setting the validatory periods, and also adding them to the appropriate permission groups. And you can also set to receive reminders if a visitor has not checked out before their validatory period has ended. And additionally, you can view logs to see who's penned in, who's on site, who's checked in. And you can even generate reports and export visitor reports. Let's go check it out. So the process begins by creating a visitor permission group. So remember, I showed you where permission groups for people. We also got visitor permission groups. So we can provide a group name and we can assign a device. I just want you also to be aware or take note, there's nowhere for you to actually select a schedule, and I'm going to show you why shortly. So now the permission group is created, let's go to the visitor management module and create a new visitor. So you can see there is a new visitor management module. Let's go to visitor registration. First of all, you can create user groups as well for visitors. So you've got different blocks, different areas. You can do that. Or you can just add them to a default group. So let's go and create a new visitor. So we can upload a picture of the visitor of Lola. We can fill in the information. And now we've got, once again, the access control section where we can select who invited the visitor. So in this case, Dudi invited Lola. And we can select which permission group does she have access to. And remember, I told you there's no way to set the schedule on the visitor permission group. It's because you set the validatory period here on the actual user itself, because everyone obviously all visitors require different methods or schedules. So we just switched quickly to the intercom reader itself, just to show you what happens when you do add a visitor to the VMS, to a permission group, which is linked to this device. And you can see Lola's just been added to the device itself as a visitor, physically on the device. Okay, if you're unsure what visitors have been invited, or you want to check their status, you can see that all this in the query. So you can see that Lola's been allowed, she hasn't visited yet, and she's been added successfully. So it means she hasn't visited, meaning she hasn't accessed that reader. And also you can review visitor logs. So in the actual access control module itself, so you can select the device point. You can see exactly who has used it. And with the visitor, you can see Lola is clearly a visitor. And if you want to cancel a visitor access at any time, you can go to their record and you can also finish their visit or cancel their visit or terminate their visit. And we move back to the device. Just showing you, once you remove once you cancel her visit, the actual record gets removed from the device, and she'll no longer be able to access through that device. Okay. We're cruising through these awesome features, but number 9 is a game changer for anyone with shift workers or multi-staffed monitoring station. So imagine this. You can now control exactly when each employee has access to the VMS. No more late night snooping or unauthorized access. Here's the magic. Version 2.1.4 lets you set custom schedules that perfectly match your employees' shifts. The VMS becomes basically a time lock vault, only accessible during designated hours. This means tighter security, better control, and peace of mind for you. Let's go and see how easy it is to set up. So, like I said, you can set schedules to control your users when to have access to the VMS. And you can either use a standard template that comes with the VMS by default, or you can create a custom template, which I'm sure most of you would need to do. We're going to enable this schedule school working hours, and I want you just to notice how intuitive the new GUI is when actually setting your times. Okay, we've created a school working hours schedule. Now let's go and create a user and assign them to this schedule we've just created. So we're going to call them guard B, we're going to give them a password. And now I want you to notice there's a new schedule option when you create a new user. So let's go and assign the template we just created, which is school working hours. And it's going to simulate when, or a scenario when a user tries to access the VMS outside of their schedule. So I'm just going to switch the user, and I'm going to log in with the credentials I've just created. And remember, he's trying to access it outside of his allowed schedule. And he's going to be confronted with a user is not in schedule and deny the access. Okay, that's how it works. Very simple, but yet very powerful. We're nearing the end, guys, so please just bear with me. And I'd like to introduce you to our new interactive help guide, which is conveniently located at the bottom right of the page, of your home page. This tool streamlines the setup process for our popular modules by providing a logical, visually interactive flow that outlines the steps required to configure the modules. For instance, guides for TV wall setups, we've got guides for face attendance, we've got guides for video monitoring are available, plus more. And as demonstrated, each of these guides outlines the necessary steps to set up the respective feature. Moreover, it's interactive. So if you click on anywhere on the flow chart, it directly navigates you, or it will directly navigate you to that module. So let's explore how that actually operates within the VMS. So remember, I told you it's at the bottom right on the page. You can click on the question mark, and let's go and just use the TV wall guide for this example. So once you select TV wall guide, it brings up the flow chart, which is interactive. Once you click on the beginning, which is add a device, it will take you directly to the decoder section on the resource management where to add a device. Let's say you've added the device already. You click on the bottom. You can click on the guide at the bottom, and now to bring up the next step, the next logical step in how to set up a TV wall. So if you click on add TV wall, it will take you directly to that module automatically. Once you've set up added your TV wall, it will take you click on TV wall settings, and so forth and so forth. So you can see it's a clear, logical guide on what modules to set up in order to get a successful TV wall working. Okay. Next is we've done some improvements on our RTSP camera connection. For those of you who don't know what an RTSP is, RTSP is a communication protocol designed for real-time live streaming of video and audio from an IP camera via URL or web addresses. Okay. Why do you need it? So RTSP is essential when using third-party devices. While OnViv is commonly used for connecting to the VMS, it can sometimes encounter complications, and sometimes it fails. So when OnViv fails, RTSP is your solution. Okay. So previously, when adding a device using RTSP, users had to load separate profiles for the main and substreams. Excuse me, main and substreams. This process required entering the address, IP address, the username and password separately for each stream, leading to additional steps. Furthermore, each stream occupied a separate channel within your VMS. And in live view, users were unable to select between the main and substreams directly. They had to view each channel individually to access either stream. In version 2.1.4, we have streamlined this process. So when adding a device using RTSP protocol, users now only need to input the URL once. They have the flexibility to add multiple profiles for main and substreams on the same device. This means that when configuring the VMS, users only need to enter the username and password once for both profiles. The device now occupies only one channel on the VMS, and in live view, users can easily switch between main and substreams similar to any other IP camera. Let's quickly go have a look and see how this works. So we're just taking you to a random camera device on the web GUI where you'll see all the different URLs for the different profiles. Profile 1, mainstream, profile 2, substream, profile 3, third stream. So this is what you would require when adding a device to the VMS using the RTSP protocol. So previously in 2.1.3, under resource management, you need to add a device manually, and you would select URL. Then you would put in the URL I've just shown you. And for mainstream, you would need to put in the URL plus the profile, followed by the username and password. And this will add the device as a single channel as mainstream to the VMS. Okay. To add a substream, we need to add the camera a second time. And we need to add the username and password again a second time. And it takes up a second channel on the VMS. Okay, you get the point. You can see it actually takes up both two channels on the VMS, mainstream and substream. Okay, I'm just going to fast forward a bit. When it comes to 2.1.4, you'll see there's a big difference. When you add the URL and IP and port number, you only add it once. Okay, and you'll see here on the right of it, you can choose which profiles you want to bring in on the same URL. So, which means translates to you only added in the username and password once, and you're only occupying one channel on the VMS. Okay, so when we go to resource management, it's only one channel, not two, and you can access both main and substreams on the same channel. I'm just going to label it LPR RTSP, and when it comes to viewing it on the live screen, let's just drag it across. So it's one camera. And now in order to switch between main and substream, you could use the tool on the page. Sorry, I didn't mean to move my mouse there. So you can select sub or mainstream without having to drag each individual camera onto the live view. Okay, guys, we're very close to the end. The next few features are face attendance improvements, as well as license plates, LPR monitoring. Excuse me, I forgot. Just so you're aware, I didn't go too deep into this because Ilan and I are planning an hour training webinar specifically on these two features, which will hopefully be ready in the next few weeks. And we want to dedicate a full training session to these new features. Okay, so I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to go too much depth, but I just want to show you some improvements that we did. So when it comes to face attendance, we've added grace periods for late check-ins and early check-ins, which means you can set a grace period, so you can set a time for when you allow an employee to arrive late or leave early, where it doesn't affect their overall, won't say that they've come in late or checked out early. Okay. We've also got new flexible attendance, which means you don't give your employee a set time to check in or check out. All you care about is that they work the allotted hours that you set for them. So they could check in at 4 o'clock and end at 2 in the morning. That's fine, as long as they work their 9 hours. We've got that now also in our face attendance. We've also added working overtime on off days, on rest days. So if employee is off and they decide to work, now the VMS can handle those type of scenarios. And also we provide a much more diversified report statistics functions, such as absence, attendance, and anomalies and attendance lists, etc. And we've also got now added support for daily, monthly, and annual attendance statistics. What's also great, which is a very cool feature, is that now we can set reports to only be sent to specific people. Specific reports to be sent to specific people at a specific frequency as well. You can set the type of report, who it goes to, when it must be delivered, and also write, give it a title and a body message. Okay. When it comes to parking lot management, we've added special character support. So you can add special characters. Maybe you've got like police or ambulances or government services that have special characters. Now our parking lot management module supports that. Also, before you had to individually set the validatory period of license plates. Now you can do this in a batch. Also, a cool feature is parking allocation by group, which means, I'll give you an example. If you've got a parking lot that's got 100 parking bays and you've got 5 companies that need to access that parking lot, you could evenly assign 20 parking bays to each company. When a company reaches their quota, anyone else arriving from that company will be denied access, while other companies who have not reached their quota will still allow access into the parking lot. So that's a new feature that's been added to the parking lot management. Also, I just want to discuss some noteworthy enhancements and literally right at the end. So thank you for bearing with me. We've got changing aspect ratio on live view. And you might be thinking, what is the purpose of aspect ratio on live view? Well, the aspect ratio setting is designed specifically to ensure the best possible adjustment of images for your display windows. So if it helps maintain the correct proportions and visual clarity of images being viewed on the screen. And lastly, we've got improved group channel settings. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with group channel settings, the VMS allows you to transform a single viewing window into a sequential switcher. So with 2.1.4, we're now enhancing the flexibility in the setting up of these group channels. So now you can reorder the cameras as needed during the initial setup. So you can push your cameras across and you have the ability to reorder them. What sequence they appear when they switch. Okay. Also, during live monitoring, you could effortlessly move a camera to another group or remove it entirely directly from the live screen, which wasn't available before. This is a nice enhancement. And you can directly access the setup configurations from the live view interface as well. Okay, guys, that is it. I appreciate it. It was just over an hour.